This is a very heavily relationship focused energy. So we're going to highlight that and talk a lot about that today. Welcome back, Astro fam. Today we are talking about the new moon solar eclipse happening in the zodiac energy of Libra. If you're new to my channel and new to me, hi, I'm Mandy Rose. I'm a relational astrologer, which essentially means that I help you have better relationships by understanding the current cosmic weather. And I also do that in one-on-one birth chart readings. Today, we are going to be talking a lot about relationships because this eclipse happening in the energy of Libra is the relationship sign. It's the relationship energy. And the ruling planet of this lunation is Venus. And I like to consider each planet a life coach to us. So whatever planet is ruling the new or the full moon is the life coach that's trying to teach us the biggest lesson around this time. And Venus is our feminine. She rules over all the things in our life that we find beautiful or pleasurable or harmonious. So that is relationships, but that's also our money, our creative projects. It rules over the way in which we want to receive abundance or receive love in our life. So we're really going to focus, like I said, so much on the lessons we're learning, the new beginnings, the new progress that we're going to have in relationships. This is a new cycle for us. We have not had a new moon solar eclipse in the energy of Libra for 19 years. This is the first one starting out the next year and a half of our life. And so we're really going to dive into how our relationships are going to be looking different and what we need to focus on in our life to make those relationships beautiful, pleasurable, and harmonious. So let's break that all down today. If you're new to my new and full moon videos, the way I like to lay them out is by first giving you a general overview of what's going on. We talk about the specifics around the new moon or the full moon. We'll pull up the chart. You'll be able to see all the degree points. If you have your birth chart handy, you can follow along and see how this new moon is impacting your specific birth chart. I'm also going to give you some fun facts that makes this specific new moon in Libra unique to 2023. Then I'm going to break down each rising sign. And as I go through each rising sign, I'm going to focus on how this new moon solar eclipse is impacting your relationships. As a relational astrologer, I really want you to have better relationships with all people in your life. So we'll break that down in the rising sign portion of this video. And lastly, I'll give you some rituals and activities that you can do around this lunation to help you maximize and flow with this energy. So let's go ahead and start out with the overlying theme as we're moving into this new eclipse cycle. Like I mentioned, we have not had a new moon solar eclipse in the zodiac energy of Libra in 19 years, meaning, let's pull up the chart here, that the north node is currently in Aries and the south node is in Libra. So this is a cycle that happens every 19 years. And as we see the north node in Aries, opposite where this full moon is happening on October 14th, we are looking at the Aries area of our life, the ultimate goal, the ultimate energy, the ultimate destiny, where we are expanding for the next 18 months is around Aries. But in order to get to that point, we have to also change things in other areas of our life, right? Because everything is intertwined. If you change jobs, that's going to impact your relationship with your significant other based on how often you're going to be able to see them. Maybe you have to travel for work. It's going to change your relationship. But also, you know, if you get a new job, it's going to change your relationship with your coworkers and the relationship with your friends. Everything is intertwined. And so the current energy that I want you to remember as we have every single eclipse in Aries and Libra for the next 18 months, all of them are designed to push us towards the Aries area of our life. And what is Aries? Aries is our main character energy. I'm going to talk about this so much as an astrologer, and remembering that Aries is the me, prioritizing the self, coming back home to your wants, your needs, your desires, your truth, your passions, and putting yourself first, putting your oxygen mask on first. And in order to do that, that is going to shift all the relationship dynamics in your life, right? You're going to say no to more social events because you want to put your own financial goals first. It's going to shift your romantic relationships because you're going to be clear about your needs and your wants and can they meet them or can they not. It's going to shift your family or your children because you're going to want to do more self-care and take care of you before you buy them gifts or throw them parties, right? These are just some examples, but we are really stepping into this main character energy. And this eclipse on October 14th is kind of that catalyst of like, I've been feeling this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. It's been in my energetic field, but now let's make it happen. It's not ending relationships. It's not even new relationships. It's changing the way in which you energetically engage in your relationships. Okay, so that's a really, really big deal, and that's going to be starting around this time. Now, also, we have to remember that the entire month of October has a lot of shifts, a lot of chaos, a lot of intensity, a lot of movement. If you have not caught my October forecast video, I highly recommend you at least watch the first portion where I talk about how the month of October is really shifting a lot of things for us. And that's playing into the energy that we're going to feel around this eclipse. Remembering that eclipses are moments in time. They happen in what we call eclipse seasons. And the season of eclipses happens for around 6 weeks. Now, it can be a little bit longer if we have multiple eclipses back to back, but usually it's just 2. And each one lasts, 2 weeks before to 2 weeks after, so about 6 weeks total. And they happen about 6 months apart. So once in the spring, once in the fall, about that. And around these portals, around these 6-week time frames, our soul signed up to have these experiences or these external circumstances or these situations around us happen to us to remind us to get back on track, to course correct us, to put us back in the path of our own personal North Node, of our own personal soul mission. So remembering around eclipses, there's very fated and destined events. It deals with the nodes of destiny. So things don't just happen by luck or chance or bad fortune or whatever. It's like they're all meant to be to get you back on track. So I want you to remember, as we're talking about this new moon on the 14th, from the beginning of October till the end of October, we could have very destined things happen to us. So keep that in mind because eclipses are potent. They're new moons or full moons on steroids. So it's like new beginning, and we really are getting back on track. In addition, the energy around this new moon is really about healing because we have Mercury very close to the new moon, to the eclipse in Libra, opposite Chiron in Aries. And Chiron is our wounds, it's our triggers, it's what we're healing, it's what we're working on overcoming in this lifetime. And so as we have all the eclipses for the next 18 months in Aries and Libra, we're going to be triggered. We're going to have to do some deep healing. And a lot of that is going to be around our masculine energy of forcing things and, demanding. And we're just going to have to tap into that receptive mode. So it's very, very eye-opening and changing to relationships around this time. Now, I want to give you the basics so you can mark this on your calendar, know exactly when this is happening. But remember, this eclipse energy that we're going to talk about today is already happening, and you're going to feel it for up to a week after the 14th. So this new moon, partial solar eclipse, and we call it partial because I'm going to pull up the chart here, and you're going to see the sun and the moon are at 21 degrees of Libra. The actual ecliptic point in the sky is at 24 degrees of Libra. So there are a couple degrees apart in the sky. We call it a partial solar eclipse, solar because it's on the new moon, and it's happening in the energy of Libra. Now, it will be exact in the sky on October 14th at 1:55 p.m. Now, something I want to preference in just a little memo about eclipses, that the time that we experience or see an eclipse from our perspective on Earth, the time when we actually see, the sun being eclipsed or the moon being eclipsed, is usually different from the moment that new moon is exact or the full moon is exact. They don't always coincide time-wise. So when I say the new moon is exact, meaning the smallest it will be in the sky, meaning 0, no light, because it's a new moon, at 1:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that does not necessarily mean that is the exact time you will see the eclipse, depending on where you are on Earth. Some people can and cannot see the eclipse. So just wanted to point that out. Now, let's move into some fun facts. What makes this new moon in Libra? We have a new moon in Libra every single year. What makes the one in 2023 different besides the fact that it's an eclipse? Okay, so we had one last year that was not an eclipse. We will have one next year that's also an eclipse. So that changes. But what else is different? Well, this specific new moon in Libra as an eclipse is dealing with the south node. So pulling up the chart again, we see that the new moon, the sun and the moon, are next to the upside down horseshoe. That is the south node. The south node represents what we are cutting away from, moving, decreasing, releasing, letting go of, and it deals with patterns, routines, karma, triggers. So new moons is new beginning, new karma, new patterns, new routines, and we're releasing and decreasing the old patterns, the old way of being. And Libra deals with relationships or partnerships or things that bring harmony and peace and balance to our life. So we are removing something or decreasing the way in which we related to others, the energy around it, so that we can have a new rebirth and a new dynamic and a new way. Now, remember this, what makes this very unique is that we have not had a new moon in Libra, even though they happen every single year. We have not had one as an eclipse since 2005. So it's been a long time. A chapter is ending back to 2005. Now, some of us were born with the north node in Aries and the south node in Libra. And I'm going to give you these dates. If you were born between these dates, you are going through what we call your nodal return. A nodal return is when your soul's personal mission from the day that you were born comes back around. Every 19 years, it comes back around and you are getting back on track. It's a very fated time in your life where things are happening and all this is getting you on track with what your soul signed up for. It's a very exciting time. I am going through my nodal return, so I'm right along with you if you were born between these dates. Again, this is a fated and destined time, and all these eclipses are going to impact you very heavily. And lastly, a fun fact about this new moon in Libra is that the ruling planet, every time we have a new moon in Libra, the ruling planet is always Venus, because Venus rules Libra. She's the landlord there. So anytime there's an event happening in the sky in the area of Libra, Venus is the landlord. She's actually, ruling the ship and directing what's going to happen. And so at this time, Venus is in Virgo, which essentially means that our relationships are going to take a Virgo energy, a Virgo lens, meaning we're going to be critical, we're going to analyze, we're going to think things through, we're going to make decisions based on facts and data. We're going to assess our relationship with a fine-tooth comb and really make a decision from our mind and our heart on should we keep it, should we not, how should it look? I mean, there's just a lot of thought at this time, and we're going to be a little picky, a little peculiar, a little wanting to perfect that relationship and make it better. So I love this energy, but keep it in mind, it can be a little harsh because Venus doesn't particularly like to be in Virgo. It's not one of her home signs. So that's kind of that background energy of the shift and change that's going to happen within our relationships. And when I say relationships, it's all relationships. It's not just romantic. Now, I do want to kind of bring up the fact that we are now in this Aries and Libra eclipse cycle officially. We had a new moon in Aries back in March on the astrological new year that was an eclipse. But at that time, the actual nodes, the south node and the north node, had not yet moved into Aries and Libra. They were still dragging behind in Scorpio and Taurus. So we had this eclipse and it was kind of a preview in March. And now we're really getting going. Like we're really getting into that main character with the north node in Aries. Who am I? What do I want? What do I desire? How am I going to go about getting that? It's very like masculine. I'm going to ask for these things and I'm going to demand and I'm going to put up boundaries and I'm going to make changes in my relationships. And where the south node is, we're cutting away, we're removing people pleasing, codependency, putting others before ourselves. All of this is shifting in our lives for all of us. So it's something really important. And this actually kind of began in July as we were going through a Venus retrograde, because on July 22nd is the day that the nodes officially moved into Aries and Libra. And we were like, it's about me now. It's about me. And now we're having the first official eclipse to make it about you. And the things that are happening around you are showing you how you're going to go about that and what you need to do. So with that, let's dive into the specifics. I'm going to pull up the chart. We're going to go through it really quickly, and then we'll break down your rising sign and how it's impacting your relationship. The first thing we always do is locate where is the sun, where is the moon. When we see them at the exact same degree point, we know it's a new moon at 21 degrees of Libra. Now, we know it's an eclipse because we see the south node very, very close to the exact new moon at 24 degrees of Libra. Wherever there is the south node, we know that the north node is directly opposite. So we see it at 24 degrees as well, but in Aries, the opposite sign to Libra. So we always look at that on the chart. So you want to know in your birth chart, where is Aries, where is Libra? This is your area of life that's being impacted and changing and shifting with all these fated and destined events for the next 18 months. If you need help understanding that, I did an eclipse workshop on October 2nd, and you can find the replay in the description box below. I priced it extremely low at $11.11 so that everyone can watch it and make sense of what these eclipses in October are guiding you to and what areas of life you might want to pay attention to. But we can see here from the chart, there's a lot of energy in Aries and Libra. So this is heavily being impacted in all of our lives. The next thing that we notice, like I said, in Libra, we got a lot of planets. We have Mercury, we have the sun, we have the moon, and we have the south node, and Mars is at 1 degrees of Scorpio, very, very close to this energy. And Mars has been in Libra for a while, and he just recently left, but that's a lot of energy in Libra. That is Mercury, our mind, thinking of what's fair and just, right? In Libra, thinking about our relationships, analyzing our relationships, thinking about partnerships, thinking about marriage, thinking about, those deep, intimate friendships. Like relationships are on our mind every time Mercury is in Libra. So we're there. The sun and the sun highlighting relationships, Libra, the moon bringing up emotions around our relationships, Libra, the south node, the karmic patterns, the karmic routines, the karmic past around our relationships. And as a new moon, we're changing that. We're shifting it. It's time to let it go. Right? And then Mars is helping us make decisions, take action, and move forward. Now, what's making this energy even more intense and transformative is the fact that this new moon and Mars are in a square with Pluto. And Pluto is that planet of transformation, of destruction, of death and rebirth. He's the god of the underworld. He brings up fears and triggers and all that deep-seated, rooted stuff that is under the surface in a relationship, right? You can have this surface level relationship with your partner, your coworkers, your friends, but there's always those feelings and those triggers and the things underneath that we don't like to address. So we overlook them and we just let them go until one day it comes to a head. And this eclipse is really going to bring those things and unearth them, uncover them, and force us to be triggered and to transform and to make a decision and to change the way in which we're interacting with that person, the way in which we are creating boundaries with the people in our life. Because Pluto's involved, and Pluto creates death to create rebirth and to transform the way your relationships look. Such a big thing around this time. Now, also going back to Venus, the ruler, all this is happening in the sky, and Venus is pulling the strings. And Venus is about what we love and who we want to be in our life, what brings us beauty, what brings us pleasure. And it's time for us to step into that. Our main character energy is like, this is about me and this is what feels good to me. These are my desires and I'm not willing to let them go because of what everyone else wants, right? Everyone needs to stay in their own lane. Everyone needs to make decisions for themselves and focus on their own dreams. Venus in Virgo is analytical and critical and looking at all the details, making sense of it from a mindset versus a heart, right? Sometimes our heart can lead us astray, and sometimes we need that mind to come in and to make the decision and to be rational and to be grounded and to be practical. And when Venus gets into Virgo, that's what that looks like. So we're really having this moment of like, all right, I'm clear and I know what I need to do, and I'm not going to let my heart just rule me into the wrong direction. So we're really going to be feeling that. The last thing I want to talk about energetically that we're going to be feeling is the fact that Mercury is at 17 degrees and directly across in the sky is Chiron at 17 degrees. Chiron triggers, Chiron brings healing, Chiron reveals wounds. Mercury is our mind, so we're seeing and we're thinking and we're communicating and we're expressing and we're having conversations around the triggers. And it's just like a healing energy. Like sometimes you have to have the tough conversation with somebody because you're so triggered. And it breaks, that square with Mars, it breaks the cycle and it unearths the truth of how you feel and how they feel. And then you can make a decision and move forward. And then new flowers can grow and the relationship can blossom into a new energy with the South Node breaking patterns and routines and cycles. It's just a beautiful energy, but it doesn't come easy, right? Shifts in relationships don't come easy. So just focus on your main character energy, trust the process. Allow things to flow, allow things to move. The 20th of the month is the most beautiful day when the sun runs into Mercury and we have the aha, we have the realization, and we know clearly how to move forward. But that is what's essentially happening at this time. So let me quickly run through all the rising signs and tell you in what specific relationships in your life you might feel this energy the most. So we're going to start out with Aries Risings. Aries Risings, this puts the new moon in your 7th house of marriage, partnerships, deep intimate relationships, and friendships. And you have been balancing and are going to continue working on focusing on yourself and releasing and letting go of any need or codependency that you have around those relationships. So there's going to be a lot of main character energy for you specifically, and we're really focusing on the intimate, romantic relationships in your life. That's where you're going to feel this the most. Now, yes, it will play out in all areas, but mostly in those deep romantic areas of life. Taurus risings. This puts this new moon in Libra in your 6th house. So this is your house of your daily life. This rules over your relationships that you have with your coworkers, the people that you engage with on a day-to-day basis. This could be your trainer. This could be your nutritionist. This could be your pets. So these are the relationships in your life that you're reblossoming and you're changing things and you're making adjustments and you're creating boundaries, and maybe people always need you in your work life to do all these things for them. And you're saying, no, that's your role. That's your responsibility. I'm going to focus on my role. Or maybe your routines are wanting to go to bed at 9 p.m. and get up at 7 a.m. and your partner likes to stay up late. So maybe you set some boundaries that you are going to sleep in separate rooms. It's really about you focusing on your day-to-day life and your routines and what relationships impact that day-to-day lifestyle for you. Gemini risings, this puts the new moon in Libra in your 5th house. So this is about creating new energy and everything we talked about, new relationship, progress around children and pregnancy, and looking at the things in your life that deal with birthing creative projects, your hobbies, who are people that you play sports with, things like that. These are the relationships that you're going to want to shift. So maybe you're playing sports with a team and the team's always running late and you have to have a tough conversation. Maybe you want to quit a team that you've been a part of for a long time because you want to focus on other things in your life. Maybe it's around your children, creating more boundaries and putting yourself first. So this is very much about the relationships with children, with your children. It could be your own inner child, and around teammates and people that you do fun creative projects with. And then maybe even around your pregnancy or pregnancy in your life. Okay, Cancer risings. This puts this new moon in Libra in your 4th house. This is all about family, ancestral trauma, the family you were born into, the family you're creating in your life. It's less about work and focusing more on your home life. How can your home life be more supportive to your career and your professional life, changing the dynamics within your home? Because ultimately, your North Node in Aries is about the next 18 months focusing on your career, and some shifts need to begin in your home life so that you can align with your main character energy in your career. So it's about new dynamics within the home, breaking some ancestral trauma, past life stuff with your grandparents, like really looking at healing some of that stuff would be really good, and finding a therapist to support you in that. Leo risings. This puts this new moon in Libra in your 3rd house. This is all about your siblings, your neighborhood, your close environment. So if you've been fighting with a neighbor, you've had some conflict with your HOA, maybe your sibling relationships haven't been very strong. Maybe you're wanting to create new energy within your sibling relationship. Have better communication, have better boundaries. Maybe you're there for your siblings a lot and they're never there for you. Looking at siblings, neighborhood, and close environments is going to be the focus and the new energy that's being birthed at this time. Virgo risings, you are having this new moon in your 2nd house. This is all about business, money, relationships tied to money. You are moving away from, a lot of this tension around who owes who what, debt, inheritances, how you make money, the people that help you make money. It could be clients, could be business partners, could be your family. You're moving a lot away from that and kind of moving more into relationships as we're shifting energy and shifting focus. So kind of look around like the work stuff, the business stuff, the income, how you're closely connected and tied to people related to money, and creating maybe better boundaries around that. Libra risings, this puts this new moon in your first house as a Libra rising. This is really about you focusing on you. What do you want? What do you desire? Birthing maybe a new identity, showing up with stronger boundaries, showing up with more presence, showing up in a way that you want the world to see you and how you relate to other people. So this is the relationship you have with yourself, changing the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you see yourself, the way that you present yourself. This is a new way, because when you focus on yourself, the way that people see you and relate to you also changes. So it's not about other people, it's about you. And the shift within you and your aura and your body and your appearance is going to change the way that people relate to you. So that's what's new and birthing at the time of this new moon for you. Moving into Scorpio rising. Scorpio risings, this puts this new moon in Libra in your 12th house. So this is all about relationships behind the scenes, and very importantly, looking at the relationship you have with you and your self-talk. We are going down into your mental space. How do you talk to yourself? How do you view the world? What is your self-sabotage, your escapism behaviors, your tendency to just remove yourself from the world and relationships? And how can you reprogram that? How can you reprogram the way that you think about yourself and others? There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that's happening to you around this new moon that is going to ripple and affect your outward relationships in your day-to-day life. So for the next 18 months, you are really focusing on healing some behind the scenes wounds and traumas and triggers and fears and subconscious and limiting beliefs and etc., so that the people you work with on a day-to-day get a healed version of you. So there's a lot of healing going on for you. Sagittarius risings, this is happening in your 11th house, which is all about friendships, acquaintances, your social circle, the people that you go and enjoy things with. So, you're really changing maybe your friendship circle, maybe the people you hang out with. Maybe you were a mom and you used to hang out with like mom groups, and now you are a businesswoman and you're hanging out with entrepreneurial groups. There's a lot of shifting and changing and new people you want to surround yourself with at this time. Capricorn risings, this puts this new moon in Libra in your 10th house. So you're really focusing on work-life relationships. Who are the people that are going to help you succeed in a professional way? Who are mentors? Who are investors? Who are people in your industry that are helping you shine and rise up? And so you're really looking at work relationships. And that's being balanced with your family. So ultimately, you're going to find more balance in your family. But right now, you're changing the way in which you create boundaries at work and who you want to give your energy to in your work life. So maybe you have a boss that's always asking for things from you, and you say to him, listen, if you want me to take on this much responsibility, then I need to be a co-boss or, a project manager, and I need more money and I need a higher level in my career. And that's going to impact your family, right? More money for your family. Or maybe you say, you know what, I'm not going to take on all these responsibilities. Here's a boundary. I need to leave at 5 o'clock every day to be with my family. So there's a lot of things career and family wise. Then we move on to Aquarius Rising. This is happening in your 9th house. So this is a new beginning, a new fresh start around your religious institution, your community, around people that you share similar beliefs or philosophies with. Mentors, there could be a lot of new mentors in your life, people that you're learning from, maybe going back to school and having professors help you and guide you. So there's a lot of new relationships about people that are helping you elevate and helping you move forward. And you're balancing that with a lot of learning. And maybe it's like students, maybe you're a teacher and you're balancing your role as a professor with the students. Maybe you are going back to school and you're going to have classmates. So a lot of things around learning. And then Pisces Rising, this is happening in your 8th house. So this is really dealing with like investors, people that you share assets with. This could be your siblings that you share, your parents' home with. This could be investors in your business, people that you have debt to, people you owe money to, entanglements. That could be sexual entanglements, people that you're caught up with. So you're changing the way in which you interact and have relationship with those type of people. Now, again, remember that we're all dealing with relationships on every aspect. At the time of this new moon, we have planets all over the sky. So there's many different areas of our life that are shifting and moving. And if it doesn't align with what I just shared based on your rising sign, that's because there's other planets and other areas, and it's very specific to your unique birth chart. So I highly recommend you get an individual one-on-one reading. I can do 30-minute sessions, and we also do year-ahead forecasts. So just remember, everything is very tailored to your unique birth chart. These are just overlying themes. And lastly, let's talk about some activities and rituals that you can do around this new moon to maximize this energy. Now remember, we're dealing with an eclipse. So this is not like a normal new moon where you're going to set intentions and you're going to manifest, because eclipses bring external things to your life. So you have a lot less free will, a lot less control. So we're just going to work with this energy and flow with it. So the first thing I want you to do, talking about main character energy, is do a main character energy drawing. I'm going to put one up here as an example for you. So I want you to put you in the middle. You are the main character of your life. And I want you to put all these little bubbles around each area of your life. And what does it look like? Think of it like a vision board, but more of like a storyboard of your life. Think of yourself as the main character of a movie. Who are the people, the supporting actors? Who are the most important people in your life? Where do you want to live? What dream job? Like your main character goals. So I want you to do something like that. And it can be something very custom and tailored to what you would like to do, but that would be a great thing to start with. The second thing is say no to a social event. I said this already at the last full moon in Aries as a ritual, but cancel something on your social calendar. Say no, put in a boundary. It's time for you to pay attention to you, and that changes the way in which you engage with the other people in your life. So say no to something. And the third and final thing I would do around the time of this new moon is really work on balancing your calendar. I want you to do an overview of your day-to-day life. Where are you giving too much of your energy? Where do you need to shift it? Where do you need to let go of? Do you need more fitness and less scrolling? Do you need more home time with your children and less at work? Really try to balance out your calendar. That's going to be so important at the time of this new moon. So with all of that, I hope this video was helpful. Please let me know in the comments below if you resonated with any of this. How are your relationships going at the time of this new moon and through the month of October? Relationships are a tough topic for us. They are the most important thing in our life. So I'm honored that you're here and you allow me to be your guide through the cosmic weather and to help you have better relationships. If you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe, follow along. I bring a lot more relationship content. You can also catch me on TikTok at the Relational Astrologer. If you're looking for a reading, you can find it in the link below along with the eclipse workshop. And until then, I'm going to send you so much love and light as you navigate this energy through the month of October, and I will catch you in the next video.